Have you ever manipulated your parents into getting something with the pouty face and the whatnot?
Kind of. I was never like the daddy's little, I mean, my dad looks at me that way, but like I was never the daddy's little girl trying to manipulate dad kind of type. I did use the fact that I was a very responsible together teenager one time during the show, actually.
This is deep.
Oh God. So I went to, it was a friend of Gregg's. It was a house party.
Gregg
Sulkin. Yeah. Gregg Sulkin,
who played
Mason.
Was a werewolf.
I had a small aneurysm. It's fine. Just a little bleed. So yeah, it was a friend of Gregg's house in like the hills or some crap. And I had just moved from the house that I was renting to the condo that I have now. And so we were in transition of moving everything over. And I said to my mom, because I knew this house party was going to happen, and I still had all through Wizards, for the most part, I had a midnight curfew. I had to be home at midnight. And this was before like Uber and like all these like ride shares and stuff. So so I would have to drive myself. And So
you couldn't get wasted.
So I couldn't get wasted. And I remember I told my parents that I was going to, I'll just sleep over at the condo while they were sleeping over at the rented house. And knowing full well I was going to go to this house party and not come back at midnight. Because I was like, they're not going to come over to the house. As kids do. This was my one like teenage fuck up. So I went to the house party. I like, I went hog at this house party. I skinny dipped. I got wasted. Like, it was not cute. I made out with some dude that I don't remember his name.
But this is you being a kid.
Yeah. I was like 16 at the time, 17, something like that. And who the hell? Oh God, I don't know how old the other guy was, but but that's terrifying. But anyway, so I get this. I get out of the pool. And I look at my phone and there's all these missed calls and missed text messages.
Oh, shit.
And my mom goes, "Where are you?" And I went, "What are you talking?" I'm like trying to pull my voice together.
To the condo.
My voice like slurring shit, being like, "What are you talking about? I'm at the condo. I'm asleep. What are you? Hey." I don't know why I turned into that.
It sounded me.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You turned into me when you're drunk.
When I drink, I turn into you. And she said that, and I was like, oh, shit. I found out later that my mom said she's not picking up her phone. I don't know where he is, where she is. And my dad goes, she's at a party. He called me on it immediately because he and I are very similar. He called me on it immediately. And my mom was like, how dare you not trust your daughter? She works so hard. Aww. I know. God bless her. She works so hard. And my dad's like, just go over there. Go over there. It was like 5 minutes from... The places were 5 minutes from. He's like, go over there. So of course she goes over there. I'm not fucking there. She tells me that later. I was grounded for months after that. I couldn't go anywhere.
So you couldn't go. You did the television show in school. And
stuff,
sure.
And then I went. I couldn't go out to like stuff and parties and things like that.
Let me tell you something about being a parent.
Yeah.
It's really hard to punish your kid. Because then you, in turn, get punished. I'm going to take your phone away. I'm going to take your driver's license away. But then we have to drive you. We have to figure out how to communicate with you, you know?
And it was something like I owned it. I was like, I was like, I fucked up. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? I get it.
It's so funny. I love how you said once it happened.
I was a good kid.
I know.
Even though I was like, I'm making out and drunk and skinny dipping. That's because I condensed it all into like evenings because I didn't have a lot of them. You know what I mean?
But it's funny because most other kids, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a thing. By the way, when I was young, we didn't have our trackers. I'm holding up my phone, everybody. We didn't have these, because we can, the parents can find you with the tracker and the stuff.
Right.
I was always like, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm sleeping over at my friend David Rubaum's house. And then he would say that to his parents. Yeah. And then we'd go camping and do drugs all night.
Which, that sounds great.
But they couldn't bust it. I mean, unless, of course, they called the other parent.
Which, if that was the case, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had whatever dude that was drive my car very fast back to the condo where my parents were waiting up for me. It was not a great night. It was not cute. And I was like all wet because I had skinny dipped. It was not a good look. It was not a good look. So anyway, I've abused the fact that I was a good, responsible kid to try to
but I mean, that doesn't negate all
No, it doesn't mean I was a shithead.
I think that society really loves it when people fuck up. They don't look at all the wonderful things. They're like, that one.
I know. Well, especially these days. I'm so thankful that social media was just on the up and up. Because there was a few times that like paparazzi got me like coming out of a club drunk. I face planted on my makeup artist, white
jacket. I
jacket.
so happy about that. I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, they got you drunk? Where are the pictures?
No, but the good news is I was a klutz sober too. So if I fell down, it just looked like me. Operating in the universe.
It's just anybody.
That's what's crazy. I'm so happy it was not the case. Because with Wizards, like I think in the first season, Selena has like a sidekick, which I was never cool enough to have. I only had a razor.
Yes. And for people who don't know, a sidekick is the old,
it's like the flip phone.
You flipped it up and then you typed with your fingers.
Versus like a flip phone, which no one's reading any of this or hearing any of it.
Twitter started while we were doing Wizards, and I've said this to you that I started an account because somebody was pretending.
Yeah, you did tell me this.
And in one of the episodes, Selena has the sidekick in the thing.
She has it all through the first season.
Because
I remember because I wanted one so bad because it's like a fidget spinner kind of thing because you flip it up, flip it down, flip it down. She would do that on set all the time.
Yeah, my oldest daughter had a sidekick, and you know when I was younger, I had a pager. I felt so cool. I felt like a doctor.
They're pretty cool.
My pager's going off. I'll find a payphone.
When I wasn't rewatching episodes for this, I rewatched Gilmore Girls, and like Rory had a pager.
Okay,
I was like, what?
Believe, Jen Stone, that you just said that, because I did this pilot with Lauren Graham a long time ago. Got to kiss her, by the way. Thank you very much. Ding. But then I got replaced by Bill Burr. But I did an episode of Gilmore Girls because my brother was TJ on there.
He was. I know your brother was on the show.
Nepotism, like he needed a brother on the show, so I came on and I saw Lauren, and she was sitting there on her phone talking to someone else, texting. I was like, "That's so rude." Like, no joke.
And now, cut to you years later.
Everybody. But I was like, "That's so weird." She's sitting here with us, not talking to us, but talking to someone else.
How interesting. Which now sets you can see all the chairs like lined up at like Video Village or like whatever. Everybody's on their fucking phone, you know? Okay, so the episode, I remember, because I came in the next week. They didn't bring me in for school or anything this week.
Oh, so you weren't there at all?
I wasn't there at all. And I remember coming in and I remember so viscerally seeing Selena's pink fuzzy walls. Oy. And going, oh my God, this cast has been together for so long now for this whole week. And now I got to play catch up. And like, I was so nervous about that. But to touch on what we were talking about way before, what I love about this episode is I feel like not only for you and Selena, for Jerry and Alex, but for Justin and Alex too, it's this great heartfelt moment that we hadn't yet had in the show.
Well, he helps out. He teaches her. He does it a nice thing for her, you know. And there's a great line. She says, "Why are you doing this?" You know, and he's like, "Well, because if I do something nice for you, you do something nice for me."
She's like, "No."
Well, no. And then she goes, "Don't brush your teeth tomorrow." And he goes, "Why?" She says, "Well, it's not toothpaste." There, I've done something nice for you.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Yeah. No, to me, it was a very sweet like exposition episode as far as like the deeper relationships that weren't just surface like bickering.
Yeah, it was a good, again, it was slower down. There were, usually it's every, 4 or 5 seconds, there's a joke. Yeah. And there was a couple of scenes where there wasn't a big joke. And there was moments that were touching, that were great. My dad always said to me, you have to get the audience to empathize with you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that helps a lot.
Otherwise, why do they watch it, you know? If they don't relate or empathize
there's a lot of shows that fucking people watch and the characters are just awful. Especially now. You look at those people are assholes.
Well, it's a different world.
White Lotus. They're all terrible people.
But it's a show about terrible people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's that one's more like a commentary on society.
Right.
You know?
You just told me to go fuck myself.
I did. In a very polite way.
Thank you so much for watching that clip of Wizards of Waverly Pod. For the full episode, go check it out on our Wizards Pod YouTube channel. The link's in the description. And for bonus content, weekly, join our Patreon. The link is in the description for that too. See you soon.